Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Anthony, the Eclectic Chef. Something we haven't talked about on this channel before is my love of port wine from the Porto region in Portugal. Specifically, I like Tawny Ports. So, just before Christmas, I happened to notice that COSTCO had their own brand 10-year-old Tawny Port. $17 a bottle. Trader Joe's typically sells this Porto Morgado as their own label 10-year-old Tawny Port, $11 a bottle. So head to head, COSTCO versus Trader Joe's. Who's going to be the winner? In two competitions, first on value, i.e. taste for price, and second for overall best taste. So, we'll see you in the blind taste test. Cheers. Okay, so now let's talk about our port taste test. Starting with glass number one. Remember, I did this blind. I didn't see the bottles because, as you can tell, they look very different. Glass number one, which I now know to be the Kirkland Tawny Porto, was a nice red-brown colour, pleasing to look at. The nose was very fruity, tangy, very sweet grape nose. Legs, they did get there in the end, but it took a while. Taste, I said it was chewable, kind of like fruit jam. Fruity, you can certainly tell it's fortified, but I didn't find this especially sweet. Very drinkable on its own. Glass number two, which I now know to be Trader Joe's brand Porto Morgado. That had a light tawny colour. It wasn't especially deeply coloured. Nose, light berry nose, again, not that strong. The legs were fairly fast forming and strong. Now, whether that's any indication of the brandy, it's not brandy, it's a special spirit, but they call it brandy, that was added to kill the fermentation way back when in this wine, or how it's been blended, I don't know. But the legs were definitely there. Taste, I found this light for a port. Again, definitely fortified. Had a very nice, gentle finish. Okay, so who's making these wines? Well, the Kirkland is made by Quinta and Vineyard Bottlers, and I didn't say anything, had this called from the get-go. They are Taylor Fladgate's bottler, and I can't say this with certainty, but you are most likely drinking Taylor's 10-year Tawny Port when you're drinking Kirkland's. The fact that they're selling the Taylor's next to it for $1 or $2 more is a bit of a giveaway too. But anyway, Porto Morgado is from So Great Vinhos, who owns Sandeman, by the way. That isn't a brand you see here much, but they're well known in the UK for sherries and ports. It's Portugal's largest wine company. They have operations around the world. Portugal, Spain, Chile, Argentina, and I think New Zealand, but they're a very, very big company. I did not bother to go and match a bottle shape or anything. They probably make, my guess is, a lot of own brands. Okay, we had two categories here. I have to say, the best overall tasting port here was the Kirkland. The fact is, though, it costs 55% more than the Trader Joe's Porto Morgado, which in all respects, colour, nose, taste, is lighter than the Kirkland Tawny Porto, which probably makes it a better daily drinker, frankly, just by itself. I like them both, but the Kirkland has the better taste. But for $11, you have to take your hat off on the value price for this guy. the Trader Joe's brand. So, you know, everyone's a winner, just like school these days, right? There is something, though, I want to talk about before we leave this subject alone. And I hope you've enjoyed this. I love porter. I prefer Tawny Port to Ruby Port or White Port, and I don't drink rosé anything. But it says 10 years here and 10 years there. What does that mean? Well, isn't this interesting? If you look that up on the internet, a lot of people will tell you that, well, it's the average age of the ports that were blended to make Tawny Port. Well, not really true. The IVDP, the Instituto dos Vinhos do Douro e Porto, the Institute of Douro Wines and Port, are the people who decide that this is a 10-year port. And they do it by saying, well, it tastes like it's 10 years old. And I am not kidding you. So that's why they're called 10-year-old ports. And you'll see these bottles both have the proper Institute guarantee seal on the bottle. So it's really port. In closing, Tawny Port. How is it different from, say, Ruby Port, which you see everywhere? Well, Tawny Port, for a start, lasts. If you're the sort of person who opens a bottle and drinks it over a few months, you want Tawny Port. This has been stored in oak casks for a number of years. As I said, it's blended to make this. So all the oxidization's done. It's not going to go off, so you can keep it for a few months and drink it over time. Ruby Port, on the other hand, is not oxidized. So it's bottled early on, and you really do need to decant Ruby Port once it's a vintage age, because there's probably sediment in there. It's a lot of work, and that's why I prefer Tawny. I also like the taste, the look, and everything else. Anyway, that's my take on these affordable Tawny Ports. I hope you enjoyed listening to me in our taste test. If you did, I'd really appreciate a like, a share, and if you like the sort of material we put through the site, our drinks tests, food, recipes, I'd really appreciate you subscribing. It does help. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a great day.